You have been a national spokesperson on the Stand Your Ground law uh, after the shooting of Trayvon Martin. And you've worked hard to try to get some reform of that law. And what's the status now in the 2014 session?
Well, in Florida, 2005, we were the first state to pass the Stand Your Ground law, which really has, all it does is really says you have no duty to retreat if you feel like your life is in danger. And what a lot of folks don't realize, you had certain provisions of that already in place, even if you were outside of your castle, which many folks refer to as the castle doctrine, but there were other provisions in place that if you felt like your life was threatened, that you could use self-defense. But before Stand Your Ground, you definitely had a duty to retreat. And many times we wish that individuals would have that duty to retreat or would retreat and not be able to hide behind the Stand Your Ground law. Trayvon would still be with us today, we believe. Jordan Davis would still be here with us today because we just know that more and more as these cases have high profile attention, more and more folks are going to use this as a screen to hide behind. We saw that with the insanity defense, and we see a lot of folks using that now as a means to go out and commit very gruesome acts of murder and then hide behind the insanity defense. We don't want that to happen here in Florida. We don't want it to happen anywhere. But since Florida was the first place to start it, it should be the first place to either repeal it or repair it. And so this session, Senator Chris Smith and others are working in the Senate to try and find some resolution or some kind of way to repair Stand Your Ground. We think that we have an opportunity to do that. We had an opportunity to hear from the parents of Jordan Davis and Trayvon Martin this week on this issue, and we hope that we can take that momentum and convince our colleagues that if we can't repeal it, we definitely should repair it.
To paraphrase you, what I'm hearing you saying is that one of the main concerns that you have and others about the Stand Your Ground argument is that it, rather than making people feel that they're more protected, it encourages aggression.
I believe so. And here I understand this. I'm a fierce defender of the Constitution, both the state of Florida and our United States Constitution. I'm a fierce defender of our Bill of Rights, especially the Second Amendment. I have my concealed weapons permit. I believe that individuals should have the right to gun ownership. But at the same time, I think a lot of folks want to characterize Stand Your Ground law and confuse it with gun control. Stand Your Ground and repealing Stand Your Ground is more about self-control than it is about gun control. And so I'm hopeful that we can cut through those differences that divide us and really get down to what we believe is the core issue, is that individuals should have a duty to retreat. We should be able to say, you know what, turn the other cheek sometimes. But if you feel like you're threatened and you can't get out of it and you have the means to defend yourselves, by all means do it. We don't want you to lose your life or your family's life, but at the same time, we don't want you to die because you are walking down the street with a hoodie and carrying a soda and a bag of Skittles, or you're texting in a movie theater, or you're at a convenience store and your music is playing too loud. And so we have to make sure that we do all we can to protect our citizens. And in the state of Florida, we have a history of that. When Kaylee Anthony was found dead, we passed Kaylee's law next year. When we had the issue with Terry Schiavo, the legislature acted. When we had folks sitting in line in 2012 to 3 a.m. in the morning and the president had already been reelected, the legislature came back the very next session and acted. And all we're asking is, now that we've had two verdicts in two very high-profile cases, along with the Marissa Alexander situation in Jacksonville, there's a time that we now need to look at the Stand Your Ground law here in the legislature, repeal it or repair it, so that our streets can be a lot safer and that people can still enjoy the freedoms and the protections that the self-defense laws give them.